Greetings, and welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. And apologies for the late occurrence. Me and my co host for tonight, we both have been dealing through some stuff this week, so this episode has gone up a bit late, but hopefully, if all things fall into place, the next episode won't be. And speaking of which, let me introduce my esteemed co host for tonight, the lovely Soda. How are you doing, good sir?
Good. This is going to be a fun episode to talk about, considering we just watched some things beforehand.
Oh yes, we watched some stuff. This is the day where Soda finally learned some things about Doctor Who he wish he hadn't. But
yeah.
You know what? Before that, we've got this to contend with. Now again, because this is going up a few days late, this will not be quite accurately timed to the dates that you're watching. We're going from the 12th of September all the way to the 18th of September for this time around. And gotta be honest, not a lot of really interesting people. I mean, a lot of one-off villains and one-off characters, but well, we'll get to that when we get to that. So, starting us off, no picture. On the 14th, we have Jenny T. Colgan, who is primarily a writer for Big Finish. She mainly wrote for the first Diary of River song. She wrote for episodes called Gardens of the Dead, Time Reaver, one of the Torchwood ones. She wrote for Class, but I mean, it's quite rare where we get a female writers on Big Finish. So I really wanted to highlight that for this week. On on the 15th, we have Mr. Fadi Al Sayad. Speaking of Class, he played the character of Ram in Class, both on the TV show as well as the Big Finish sort of revival. Ram Singh was his full name, the full name of the character. Also on the 15th, we have Jack Wolgar. He was primarily like I said, one-off villain. He was the Staff Sergeant Arnold in The Web of Fear. I encourage you to go and watch it. I mean, it is the debut of Lethbridge Stewart, who eventually became known as the Brigadier. But I mean, his character is very, very vital to the plot of the episode. That's why I decided to highlight him for this showcase. Also on the 15th, a lot of people on the 15th for some reason, Mr. David, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, David Myerscough Jones. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. It's a very difficult name to pronounce, but here's the picture right here. He was a designer for the aforementioned Web of Fear, as well as the Ambassadors of Death and Day of the Daleks.
So, cool.
Three critical episodes from that particular era of Doctor Who. Why doesn't the picture go away? Okay, so the website is acting up for some reason. StreamYard, I should say. On the 15th as well, we have Pixemlin. Again, apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. She, as seen in this picture, she played Captain Chin Lee in The Mind of Evil, and she also played a character called Dr. Chin Lee in one of the Big Finish unit box sets. I'm not 100% sure if it's the same character, but it could be. She was also a very vital character in one of the episodes of Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter. And of course, she also married Mr. Don Houghton, who wrote several episodes of Doctor Who, several notable episodes of Doctor Who, I should say. So there's that. He wrote Inferno and Mind of Evil, which of course is the episode that she appeared in. On the 15th again, this is actually pretty interesting. Colin McFarlane, this guy, the guy in the picture, he was General Pierce in all 5 of the Torchwood Children of Earth storyline. You remember that storyline, right? Of course, he played another
Vaguely, but he
character.
looks familiar from something else.
Really? Does he?
Yeah. I don't know why, but he looks familiar from must be something else.
Well, maybe you can look him up. He was also a character called Moran in the Peter Capaldi episode Under the Lake and Before the Flood. He played 2 characters on Big Finish as well, but here's the interesting bit. He was also the voice of the heavenly hosts in Voyage of the Damned.
Oh,
The angel robot thing.
I did not know that. Okay, that's cool.
That's pretty. I think that's pretty interesting. On the 17th, finally reading out of the 15th, we have Dana Sheridan, which is there's the picture right here. She of course played Chancellor Flavia in The 5 Doctors, a character who was sort of greatly expanded upon in other Doctor Who media, but I mean, she basically became the president at the end of the 5 Doctors. After President Barusa, she became acting president while the Doctor uh, essentially took off again. So, yeah, on the 18th, we have Tim McInnery. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. I'm terrible with names, as you all know. He was the character of Mr. Halpin in Planet of the Ood. So yeah, another one-off villain. And finally, we have Russ Abbott, or Russell Allen Roberts, who looks like this. He played the character of Martin Truman in the Sergian Adventures episode Secrets of the Stars. So not gonna lie, not a very particularly interesting week in the birthday section, but well, every once in a while you get these. So for the relatively short list of people we had today, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you.
Mm-hmm.
So close, am I right? The Doctor's fashion sense visits your screens yet again.
Yep.
And as you've already seen from the thumbnail that I made for you guys, we're going to be talking about doctors who weren't technically on the TV show, for the most part, technically. So we're going to start our way from the recognizable and sort of work our way down to, wait, this was the Doctor at one point? So as the image that I already showed on screen suggests, which Doctor do you think we're going to be talking about first?
Probably 8.
Really should not have taken you that long to figure that out. But yes, the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, one of the more better dressed Doctors in my opinion. I mean, look at that.
Oh, 100%. Very, very elegant.
Yeah, very snappy dresser.
Mm-hmm.
The 8th Doctor, of course, is using clothes that he borrowed from a hospital, something that that the Doctor has done once before and will do once again. Do you know?
Right.
Yeah, did it in his 11th incarnation and also in his 3rd incarnation. But I think the Fob Watch really does help tie it all together, right?
Oh, 100%. And his outfit is very much in the vein of a Capaldi.
Yeah, and him and Capaldi were good friends at one point. I mean, they did appear in the movie once years ago.
Blew my mind when I found out he was in the Disney Three Musketeers.
Shame we never actually get to use that Fob Watch too much in the movie. But as you probably know, the 8th Doctor has had several costume changes. You did know that, right?
Well, yeah, I knew that. One of which we see in that short mini episode before the 50th. And I've seen other artwork of the 8th Doctor from Big Finish covers and stuff like that with him in other costumes.
Yeah, and you do know that the hair that he's got, that's a wig, right?
I knew that.
Did you know the story of the wig, by the way? Why he's wearing a wig? So when he auditioned for the role of the Doctor, he had this naturally long hair. And he went and did the audition, didn't think he got the part, so he went off and did other roles because he's a very busy guy. He does a lot of roles, and he shaved his head, not completely, but just had a shorter hair for a different role, and he really started to like that shorter hair. And when he got the notification that he got the part, they told him, "But we want you with that hair." Like, I just shaved it for a different role. It's not going to grow back in time, so they just gave him a wig the entire time.
That makes sense. That's happened. I know that's something that you see with movies, usually when they do reshoots.
Case in point, Matt Smith in Time of the Doctor.
Oh, I don't think I caught that.
You didn't catch that? I mean, he shaved his head, and that's why they made the whole plot line.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that he was bald when they were doing that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but in all the other 8 Doctor appearances as the Doctor, he had the shorter hair that he was more accustomed to. And this is, as you mentioned, the cover from the Big Finish. I believe this is exclusively for the Dark Eyes series with the long leather jacket, sort of a precursor to some of his next few incarnations. And then, of course, there's the Night of the Doctor costume that you already mentioned. It's still sort of the same type of costume, just slightly tweaked a little bit. And I like it. It sort of goes back into the theme that we've been talking about these past couple of weeks of Doctors having a significant wardrobe change towards their end.
This one looks like the Doctor in the Wild West.
Yeah, it does. Especially when he's holding the sonic screwdriver like that. But do you prefer the shorter hair or the longer hair?
That's kind of okay. I actually do prefer the shorter hair, but when it comes to his original costume, I don't think the shorter hair would work. You know what I mean? Like to the movie, I don't think I don't think his shorter hair would have worked.
You know what? I tend to agree.
Yeah,
but I tend to agree that the hair, I think, really helps complete the costume.
Yeah, and then of course now that I look at it, you can definitely tell that was a wig.
Let's see again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very too specifically organized.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is his appearance in The Power of the Doctor with even shorter hair, but still wearing the same
and costume. The only one not wearing robes.
You do know why, though?
No, I don't.
I mean, this is the Doctor that lived through a big chunk of the Time War.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to wear robes which remind him of the horrors of Gallifrey and what the Time Lords became.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a very smart detail you need to look out for. These are 3 action figures featuring all 3 of these, the costumes that we've just been featured. So now we can't see all 3 of them in a side-by-side comparison.
I didn't know they did Big Finish action figures.
Oh, of course they do. And as a matter of fact, I think Big Finish is even the distributor of these some of these figures.
Nice.
All right. And now, speaking of Night of the Doctor, we move on to the War Doctor, John Hurt, and his very significant wardrobe change. First of all, let's just acknowledge the beard and the mustache. I love the idea of a Doctor with facial hair. I don't understand why we didn't have more Doctors with facial hairs. Thankfully, it looks as though Ncuti Gatwa is going to be keeping his mustache.
Very nice.
For at least the first season from the behind the scenes pictures we've seen. So at least you got that going for it. But yeah, this outfit, man, this is the outfit of a man who has seen some shit.
Yep, this is a gunslinger.
Yeah, a gunslinger, an outlaw, a war hero, and a survivor at any cost.
Yeah.
I even like this the screwdriver. I love the brown leather jacket.
The weathered jacket that matches the weathered face.
The weathered personality.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want a closer look, There you go.
It's pretty cool.
He's even got the bandolier with the weapons on it,
Yep,
which is
and
actually
the fob watch.
where he, what?
And the fob watch.
Wow, he does have a phone watch. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
And of course the bandolier. That's where he keeps the sonic screwdriver half the time.
Yep, because he don't use bullets.
I mean, he does in some iterations, but later in the war, which is when we actually get to see John Hurt in the Day of the Doctor, not so much. But so, a funny story about this bandolier that he's got. Do you know where he got it, though?
Probably a spoil of war or something.
No, it's actually in the Night of the Doctor. That's the one that this girl Cass who died.
That's right. Yes. It's the person that he encounters at the beginning of the episode. She dies, and he takes it as a way to honor her. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how she got it in the first place?
By killing someone.
The 13th Doctor gave it to her. And it's the same one that she wore.
When?
So, yeah, that's Stephen Moffat's weird obsession with the bootstrap paradox. So, now we're going to move on.
Well, no, hold on. Did that happen in Big Finish, or did that happen on screen?
It happened in the Day of the Doctor novelization.
Okay.
If you ever read it, don't. But if you ever do read it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I did not like that one. Okay, so moving on. The Fugitive Doctor. Have you actually seen this Doctor? I mean, I know you've seen The Power of the Doctor. But have you seen any of the other episodes featuring this Doctor?
Not the episodes, but I have seen I've seen her scenes.
I think she was a really good Doctor. She could have been great if given more screen time. Thankfully, she's getting more.
That seems to be a common opinion.
Yeah, thankfully, she is getting a lot of attention in the comics, and she is eventually going to get her Big Finish standalone series. But that costume,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is like an S tier Doctor costume, in my opinion.
That is practical.
Yeah, because it's a very practical Doctor. I mean, she uses weapons, and she fights physically, hand to hand combat. She's a very physical Doctor.
Yeah, she's the fugitive.
Yeah, and I love these glasses as well. And you know what else? It's a small detail, but I think it really helps sell you on. Yeah, this is the Doctor. The mismatched sleeves.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely something the Doctor would do.
Yeah, I love the mismatched sleeves. Here's a little artwork of her from the comics with the gun and the TARDIS that she's got. And so now we're kind of veering slowly away from TV Doctors, but we do have one final one we need to discuss. The Valeyard. Before we move on, what exactly do you know about this character?
I know he's somewhat of a version of the Doctor, and that's about it.
So he's like an evil an amalgamation of all the evil side of the Doctor from the Doctor's potential future. So like somewhere between his 12th and final incarnation. Notice how I didn't say 13th incarnation, because between the 12th and 13th and final incarnation, there's a lot that happens apparently. Could he potentially be the reason why the 13th Doctor regenerated into the body used by the 10th Doctor in the 14th incarnation?
Maybe.
It's a character really, it's a mystery wrapped in an enigma of that character. And now we get a better look at his costume right there. Of course, played by Michael Jaston, who still regularly plays the character on Big Finish whenever they have need of him. Whenever they write a story for the Valiant. This is a really, really good costume, I think. Of course, he was used when he was introduced in the episode, he was used primarily as a prosecutor, a man of the law, a man of the court to prosecute the Doctor. That was his whole shtick, is that he wanted to have the High Council of Time Lords find him guilty and strip away his regenerations so he can take away that life energy and add it to himself so he can continue on living and existing as this version of the character. And the costume, I think, really represents that very well. And again, dark version of the Doctor, dressed all in black, and he's got the traditional Gallifreyan robes of the court.
Yeah. He's basically the Doctor as a lawyer.
It's an evil lawyer.
Mm.
This right here is from the upcoming set of Magic the Gathering Doctor Who cards, which I think is a really good artwork for the Valiant right there. He's another action figure of him without the stupid hat.
Oh, nice. That's a statue, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a figurine. It's a statuette.
By the way, it's nice.
Yeah. And of course, this Doctor also features in Big Finish, as I mentioned. Sometimes as the War Valiant, still being played by Michael Jaston. And you can see in this picture right here, he kind of has a similar outfit to the Eighth Doctor's costume.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Now, again, kind of hammering home the point of him being an evil version of the Doctor.
Mm.
Right? So now we fully transition away from these TV Doctors and moving into the more of the obscure regions of Doctor Who. Where do you think is our first stop, sir?
Probably some old school comics.
That's a good theory. Second guess?
What else besides comics? I don't know. Throw this other game.
All right. Since you're lost, let me just put you out of your misery. Let me put you out of your misery and just go the Peter Cushing Doctor.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! You
did not see this coming, seriously?
Seriously, yeah.
How could you forget about this?
How could you saw what I did before we started, right?
Well, we don't need our audience to know that, but
You've seen me do it on camera. I'm sure they know.
Okay, fine. But that being said, I love this outfit. This is a genuine, great S tier level costume. He looks like a proper English gentleman, and I love that. That was really what
kind of reminiscent of McGann's first costume, but like just obviously different colors.
I would even go a step further than that. It really does seem to emulate the William Hartnell design.
Yeah, see, I was thinking William Hartnell if he tried to be cool.
William Coolher. No.
Ooh.
William Hartnell. No?
Yeah, it was funny. I'm laughing on the inside.
Which is to say you're not laughing at all. Okay, I said fine, I get it. But again, the mustache. Love the mustache. And you know what else? The scarf.
Yep. And the guy behind him.
I mean, I'm sure everyone knows who that is, right?
Yep. Colonel Wilfred Mott.
No, that's Bernard Cribbins, but you were close enough. Where was the picture with the monocle? I want to see it again. Where was it? Because the first Doctor also had a monocle. Where the hell? That's a different Doctor. Where is it? Am I hallucinating? Did we not have a picture of him with a monocle?
Like I know that obviously I've seen pictures of that Doctor with the monocle. Oh, there it is.
There it is. I like it. I again, just like the fob watch for the Eighth Doctor, the monocle really helps complete the picture of this Doctor. It really tells you a lot about this character.
Is he trying to play the Dalek's arm like a guitar?
I think he's just leaning on it, but I mean, if that's what you're seeing,
I mean, you know what? You never know with Peter Cushing. The man did wear fuzzy pink slippers when he was playing Grand Moff Tarkin. So,
yeah, because the boots were uncomfortable. Have you ever worn military boots?
no, and I don't plan on it. But I'm saying I wouldn't put it past him to do
Well,
put
I have, and if I had the option of wearing whatever the hell I want when everyone else was looking, I would wear fuzzy slippers too. Probably.
I blamed him.
Okay.
Just saying, based on that knowledge, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. So now we got some more doctors we can go through. We got. Where do you think we're going to start?
Okay, now we're gonna go to comics. I'm assuming.
No, because we
Okay.
got these guys to talk about.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry.
So of course we're going to talking about the Curse of Fatal Death, featuring Zazu. I mean Rowan Atkinson.
Mr. Bean did it right.
I got it right the first time around. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but the second time's more right. Anyways.
I mean, it was Zazu first. So.
No, Mr. Bean was about 15 years before Zazu.
Was it?
Yeah. Mr. Bean, I'm pretty sure, is dates back to the 80s.
We got to look this up. This cannot. This cannot.
Oh, okay, I was close. The series was originally broadcast on ITV, beginning with the pilot on January 1st, 1990. So that's about 4 years before Lion King.
All right, but not 15 years. You weren't close. You weren't that close.
Still, it was before.
It was not before for me. Anyways, what do you think of this costume?
I like it. I like it. It fits in line. It almost feels like an inspiration for McGann's costume in a way. That was kind of the vibe I was getting with the hair and whatnot.
I mean, that was after McGann. I wasn't wrong about that.
Oh yeah, I guess it would have been after McGann. But yeah, no, I liked it. Like it kind of felt like the top half was McGann and the bottom half was Troughton. And yeah, that's wow. Never thought I'd see the Doctor fart.
I mean, the Doctor's a person just like anyone else. He farts just as well as you do.
Oh, fair.
But you know what? I think my favorite part about this costume is the shirt underneath the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about this with the Fugitive Doctor. That is something that the Doctor would wear. That is just the right amount of wacky and kooky that fits with the Doctor's wardrobe choices.
Yeah, it's very 90s.
It's very 90s and very Doctor-y. And you know what? If Doctor Who had continued on to the 90s, I think that one of the Doctors at least would be wearing something similar to this.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
And thankfully, more than one Doctor got to wear this iconic costume, right? We got, not in addition to Rowan Atkinson, we got Richard E. Grant as well. Yeah, we got Jim Broadband, Professor Slughorn himself.
Broadband.
What did I say?
Broadband, which is a form of internet.
So John Broadband doing the William Hartnell pose. And again, same costume, just different sizes because different people. This actually addresses something that the show never does. Is that the Doctors change, but the costume stays the same size. In this spoof, the costume sort of changes size with the Doctors.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's a spoof. It doesn't even really need to matter all that much.
The rules go out the window.
And the rules of logic go out the window. Of course, we got Hugh Grant, which I believe was also in contention for the role of the Doctor around the time David Tennant was cast and turned it down, which of course is why we got David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. But this, again, in here, you can't see a better look of this tucked in shirt. I love it. And I think if you actually compare this to the Jim Broadbent, I mean, you can't really see, but it kind of looks like Jim Broadbent sort of tucks the shirt into his trousers, where Hugh Grant just keeps it out.
It didn't look like it when it didn't look like it when we watched it, but I wouldn't put it past him. He does seem like that kind of character. That just from the brief minute I saw him.
Yeah, the half a minute that he was on screen.
Now this, go back a second to the Hugh Grant one. Now that look suits him.
Yeah. He could have been a really good doctor, a real great doctor.
You know what? He could still be a great doctor.
At this point, he doesn't want to. Like, he believes that ship had sailed.
But I feel he could pull it off, is what I'm saying.
He can pull it off, sure, but if he wanted to.
If you wanted to, yeah.
I mean, he does say that he regrets not taking the role, but he's also said that he won't be doing it anytime soon either.
Yeah, we're totally fair.
Like, that was a perfect window of opportunity that where he is in his career right now, he probably wouldn't take it.
And it's a big commitment.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
And of course, we're finishing off with the lovely Joanna Lumley, which, has a few buttons open,
naturally,
as opposed to some of the other. Again, going back to what I said earlier, the clothes sort of change with the regeneration of the character. But there's definitely more to show with this doctor, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think this is the only picture we actually get to see and get a good look at the pants. Oh.
What happened to your camera?
I don't know. Oh, hold on.
Well, that's unexpected. Yeah. Well, needless to say, the Curse of the Fatal Death there was really, really funny. I watched it for the first time before we did this, after a long time of badgering from 50. Yeah, it was definitely worth it. He showed me this other parody from the 1970s that is hilarious. 50 just texted me, give me a sec. He'll be right back in. Yeah, no, I definitely checked that out. The Curse of the Fatal Death. It is a Red Nose Day special, I believe. Written by Stephen Moffat, or Moffat, as 50 likes to say. Is he back? He's back.
No idea what just happened there.
Oh, good. I vamped about how we just watched The Curse of the Fatal Death beforehand.
Yeah, I was there for that part. I heard that much.
Okay.
And you were forced to stop looking at Joanna Lumley. I guess, Joanna Lumley is so stunning. She shocked my camera to death.
I was going to say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. My camera just couldn't handle the divine beauty that is Joanna Lumley. But speaking of the other thing you mentioned, it wasn't the 1970s. It was 1985 on the Lenny Henry show with Lenny Henry taking on a pseudo Sixth Doctor.
Yeah, it felt 70s-ish. That's probably why I said it was 70s.
You do remember who the main villain of that piece was?
I do, but I'm saying the way the Doctor was portrayed felt very 70s to me. So I think that's why I said that.
Okay. Easy to get confused, but like I said, he's sort of an intern between the Sixth Doctor. This was, again, during the time of the great hiatus between seasons with Colin Baker. I don't know if you heard this, but there was like an 18-month hiatus from one season to the next.
Yeah, that was before they brought him back and then fired him, right?
Yeah, I mean they kind of already fired him before the show, the final season aired, but a lot happened in those 18 months. And we as Doctor Who fans like to bitch and moan and complain that we have to wait 1 year between episodes. Back in the 80s, there was an 18-month hiatus. I don't think any of us could handle that if that happened again. Not to say To say nothing about the show getting canceled and no one knew if or when it will come back. So
kids today will have no idea what it was like growing up and having to wait for a lot of stuff.
yeah, for a lot of stuff, especially Doctor Who. But let's just look at the costume for a bit. Of course, he starts off with this big long scarf, which is a reference to the Tom Baker scarf, but sort of leaves it in the TARDIS for the entire sketch and just walks around with this. Now, I really like this costume.
Yeah, it definitely fits this Doctor.
It not only fits a Doctor, but it fits him specifically very much. And I think he's also he's also wearing leather gloves, which is not something we do see a lot with any of the Doctors.
I think I've never seen the Doctor wear gloves, period.
Sometimes in specific situations, I think, but yeah, leather gloves to go along with the leather jacket, which, by the way, it's a very similar jacket to the one Shruti Gatwa will be wearing in one of the episodes.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And of course, it does sort of remind you of the Christopher Eccleston jacket, but it's a lot longer. So, and of course, the Shruti Gatwa jacket is a lot lighter brown. But again, we're going to see the Doctor running around with a long leather jacket for a bit. How cool is that?
It's pretty
cool. A return to form for this kind of fashion. Moving on, we're moving on to 2003 with another potential Doctor. Do you remember we mentioned Richard E. Grant before?
Yep.
So this is him from 2003 in an animated version called The Scream of the Shalka.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell it is.
Yeah, 100%. It's based off of him.
It's very distinctly Richard E. Grant.
Not Richard E. Grant. Christopher Lee of the Hammer Dracula films.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, before I even saw Scream of the Shalka, I did not know who this Doctor was. He just looked like a vampire to me. Like, why did they make a vampire the Doctor?
He definitely has that vibe.
And you know what? Richard E. Grant can carry himself off as a vampire sometimes. He does have that vampiric energy to his performances sometimes.
Yeah,
You're not responding. You're supposed to respond. This is a one-way-sided conversation here.
Well, you know, sometimes get annoyed when I do that.
I don't.
No, you're right. Like, the thing with Richard E. Grant is he's such a good actor. Like, I mean, most recently we got him as classic fucking Loki. In Loki.
Yeah, that was the more recent thing. For some reason, I thought. Never mind. Yeah, it came out after Rise of Skywalker. I thought that was more recent. Yeah, but I mean, we're here to talk about the costume, not his performances.
And, no, but I'm saying, like, yeah, he anyways, yeah, no, it's a good costume. I really wish we'd gotten more of him as a Doctor, but
I mean, there was a Doctor that was kind of doomed to fail.
And I mean, they kept the Masters look consistent.
Yeah. Can you guess who's playing the Master here?
Eric Roberts.
Close.
Really?
Close in the vein of the Master, that is.
Arthur, the guy who played the Burnt Master.
Hold on. Where is it?
This one.
Dang it. No. A new body at last. Nope, that wasn't him.
Okay, then I don't know.
Derek Jacobi.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Before he was properly the Master, he was a different Master.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
man, Jacobi and Grant, that would have been an awesome combo.
Yeah, and of course there was the Master died in the movie, so in this version he was an android created by the Doctor that was supposed to have the personality of the Master. It was a weird freaking thing. There's a reason why this didn't work. Let's put it that way. But again, like I said, it was doomed to fail because while it was actually being produced, they announced that the show's coming back with Russell T and Eccleston and all that.
Did they ever say how Eric Roberts' master regenerated, or how he came back?
Regenerated and came back are two different things.
Sorry, well, did they ever say like how? Because you said he died in the movie, and I knew that he died in the movie. How did he come back?
You want to hear my interpretation of it, or what actually happened?
Your interpretation, and then give me what actually happened.
So my interpretation, the TARDIS basically farted him out.
Okay.
And you want to know what actually happened?
The TARDIS farted him out?
No, so actually, after he exploded in the Eye of Harmony, he just got swallowed up into the TARDIS, and his molecules sort of got rearranged at a different room, and the TARDIS just jettisoned that room into space, as it tends to do sometimes. So, it farted him out. Like in the movie, when Grace asks what happened to the Master, the TARDIS, there's a little grumbling noise, and the TARDIS like indigestion.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what else are you gonna assume from that? The TARDIS farted him out.
Yeah, the TARDIS is sentient, as we see later on.
Yep. So we've been talking a lot about farts in Doctor Who lately. Well, let's. We don't have the stay on target meme, but let's stay on target and just get back to talking about this Doctor's costume. Again, you're not responding.
Well, let's go on. Let's talk about his costume.
Well, what do you have to say about this costume?
I already said it. I liked it.
Okay, cool.
I said it a while ago.
The long button jacket does speak to you. I like the green stuff.
Yeah,
it's sort of something that resembles a hoodie that he never really used properly in the.
Like I said, it reminds me of Christopher Lee in those old Hammer horror films.
Okay, cool. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Because we got Jim Broadbent again, wearing whatever the hell this is.
Looks like 7 and 5 had a love child.
It's more than that. He just took some of the best bits from every Doctor and just threw a mishmash on himself. Like he's got elements from the 6th Doctor with the jacket and the polka dotted thing in the middle. He's got the question marks. He's got the little badge from the 4th Doctor. He's got the fedora hats in this picture right here. You see, he even has the umbrella. Once again, the mismatched sleeves. He's got a feather in his cap.
The plaid pants like Troughton.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mishmash of Doctors, and you know what? I love it. I love Jim Broadbent in this very quick. It's like a 1.5-minute parody of the Doctor, but it's.
Where is this from again? Sorry.
Again, it's one of those weird things you find on the internet that's actually legitimately a Doctor Who parody. It's called Doctor Who versus Crayola. I was looking it up before we started the show. I wanted to show it to you, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
As in Crayola the crayon?
I think it's spelled differently, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be the intention there.
Okay.
So, this is another weird Doctor outfit. Any final thoughts before we move on?
It's an assault on your senses, but it's very Jim Broadbent.
It's very Jim Broadbent. Jim Broadbentian.
Mm.
And now we move on to a slightly more serious Doctor with the David Warner Doctor on Big Finish, of course, in the Unbound universe. I know you can't really see too much of the costume. Of course, we got Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier and Davros right behind him, but this is more or less, again, David Warner posing for a Doctor photo shoot for the Big Finish stuff. And I got some more images of David Warner as this Doctor. Yeah, it's a slightly less flashy, less flamboyant version of Doctor. He's going back to the traditional, respectable English gentleman clothes, and I like it. I like it a lot.
It's dressed for comfort.
And very dressed for comfort.
Yeah, although this one, I don't know if the question marks fit.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree, but I mean, it's again, you can't really see it on this picture, but it's a pretty iconically Doctor Who thing at this point. So,
that one's nice. It's kind of got a perch tree. vibe
mean,
to
he
it.
was supposed to be the third Doctor.
True.
Again, he was, I believe, offered the role of the third Doctor back in the day, or one of the Doctors, and couldn't make it for scheduling reasons, so we went to someone else. And but in the big finish, they actually legitimately made him the third Doctor. If the third Doctor's exile did not go as planned,
You know, that man has missed out on some very big roles.
but he's also gained a lot of big roles.
Right, but there's actually another big role that I would argue is bigger in pop culture that he actually was the original choice for, but had to step away from.
Surprise me.
Freddy Krueger.
Really?
Yeah, he was the first choice for Freddy Krueger before Robert Englund. They even did makeup tests and everything, but just it didn't work out.
And you think Nightmare on Elm Street is bigger than Doctor Who?
In the popular culture,
Okay.
I could make an argument for it. Yeah.
I can make a counter argument, but okay.
Yeah, no, I think you can make an argument because I think Freddy Krueger has reached more people than Doctor Who.
I mean, it does happen in dreams, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, horror. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
No? Oh, you know what?
All right, let's keep going.
Okay, so here's some more pictures of David Warner as the Doctor, of course, alongside Lisa Bowerman as Bernie Summerfield. Here's some behind-the-scenes photos from him just chilling out as the Doctor, alongside Lisa Bowerman as the Bernie Summerfield, and of course Mark Gatiss as the Master.
Now that is somebody who I think could actually settle that debate, which is bigger, horror or Doctor Who?
Who?
Mark Gatiss. Oh, he's a huge horror fan. He did a three-part documentary series for I think BBC on the history of horror.
I don't know, man. I think he would side with Doctor Who on that.
But like I said, I think he's the one person who could probably settle that.
He's the one to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I mean, sure, I'll just ring him up and ask him, clearly.
You do that.
But do you love the idea of David Warner being the Doctor wearing this costume?
Oh, I love the idea of David Warner doing anything. Yeah, I like the idea of David Warner playing an older. I don't know if I'd say wiser, but definitely an older Doctor with an interesting perspective.
Okay. Would you be up for David Warner being the Doctor opposite Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor?
Oh, that'd have been cool.
Because we are getting that.
Oh, and Big Finish?
Yeah, on Big Finish. They clearly, you can see in this picture, they have met. This is actually one of David Warner's final roles, was playing the Doctor in the Unbound universe one final time for the Doctor Who Once and Future storyline that they're doing, which is basically like the Big Finish's version of the 60th anniversary for Doctor Who. They do some very interesting stuff. I'm not gonna lie, they do some really interesting stuff with there. I mean, they do some really mismatched stuff. They do Sixth Doctor with Jackie Tyler, of all people. They do like the Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison, with Jenny, the Doctor's daughter.
Yeah.
They had David Tennant's Doctor with Missy and the Paternoster gang. So I haven't listened to any of it yet. I'm waiting for all of them to come out so I can watch it, listen to it straight on. But they're doing some really interesting stuff with the Once and Future thing, and I can't wait to get into any of that. Speaking of Big Finish, we also got a little bit of the Jeffrey Balden Doctor, but we don't really get to see too much of the costume or this Doctor for that matter. But of the little bit you can see, what can you say about this?
I mean, I can't really tell. The blue tint of it makes it really hard for me to tell what the hell he's wearing outside. Well, it looks like a plaid jacket.
Yeah, it's a shame they never actually released proper pictures of him as the Doctor in this for promotional reasons or any other reasons, as a matter of fact.
Have you told me about this Doctor before?
I think I have, yeah.
Hmm.
It's another one. It's another one of the Unbound Doctors.
Mm.
So you know what the Unbound Doctor is, right?
I know you've told me.
It's a Doctor Who What If.
Right. Yes.
Like, what if this happened? What if that happened? And speaking
Yeah,
of what if,
Doctor Who Elseworlds.
yeah, it's an Elseworlds. That's why it's called Unbound. It's like Star Wars Visions. But speaking of what ifs, what do you think would have happened if the show never got canceled? Who do you think would have been the Doctor after McCoy?
Trying to think who would have been big enough. Oh, you know what would have been a fun Doctor? So I'm just going to say this because I don't know. Eric Idle. He would have been a fun Doctor.
I think he was too big at the time to play this role, though.
Fair.
Remember, this is 1989.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Then I don't know.
What if I told you there actually was a plan? That they had a full plan out. John Nathan Turner, Ken True, the costume designer at the time, even designed a costume for the potential 8th Doctor, played by. Can you play the drum roll thing? Richard Griffiths.
Vernon Dursley, if I say so myself. Wow.
Could you imagine Vernon Dursley as the Doctor?
I can imagine Richard Griffiths as the Doctor. Yes.
I mean, would you be able to see those Harry Potter movies the same way ever again?
Yes, because I can see the 4th movie with David Tennant in it. It would that type of stuff doesn't take me.
David Tennant's in it for like 2.5 minutes.
That type of stuff doesn't take me out of things.
I mean, I'm not saying take you out, but just affect your view of the movie.
I don't know if it would have affected my viewing of it, but I definitely know I would have found it cooler.
Vernon Dursley cooler or this Doctor cooler?
Well, no, I would have found it cooler that a Doctor was in Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
Well, Doctor was in Harry Potter, but that's beside.
You know what I mean? We literally just did this. You told me he was barely in it, so shut up.
I was talking about David Bradley. I don't know who you were talking about.
Son of a bitch!
I gotcha. But so, what do you think of this costume, designed by costume designer at the time, Ken True? Like, this is actual proper concept art for this Doctor.
I think it would have looked better if we'd have actually seen it. You know what I mean? I think it would have been better outside the concept drawings. Because like the design of it's not bad. It's just, I don't know. I would like to see what it would look like for real.
Sure.
Not bad. Oh, it's a scarab.
A what?
Right here in his lapel, it's a scarab.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's got a lot of icons, this Doctor. I mean, you'll notice that he has a bow tie and like a butterfly thing underneath.
Yeah, I see that.
There's I like the green tinted glasses. The full brush looks interesting with the question mark on it. So at least this Doctor still has the question marks, just not really on the collar anymore. I actually really like the idea of a more rounder Doctor, to use the more politically correct.
A more pear-shaped Doctor, more of a professorial.
Yeah, I love the hair though. Love the hair.
Einsteinish.
Oh, and look, he's even got a walking cane.
Oh, he does.
And once again, leather gloves.
Yeah, leather gloves, scarf.
Yeah, and he's got the pertwee thing of like the red highlights behind the corners of the jacket thing.
What the hell did they do to the Dalek?
I mean, it's a what if. Don't read it too much into it. At least you can see, and the bottom, facing the Doctor, the Daleks still look pretty much the same.
Yeah. Oy.
And maybe it's just a Dalek spaceship. There's no reason to read too much into this.
Okay then.
And of course, speaking of things that don't really need to read too much into, are you familiar with the Morbius Doctors?
I've heard of them. That's about it.
Yeah, so they appeared in the Brain of Morbius episode. No one really knew for sure if they were prior versions of Morbius or the Doctor until, of course, Chibnall made them canon. But I mean, they were sort of already canonized anyway because they were in a Doctor Who magazine that people just decided to ignore because it was a lot easier to go off on Chibnall. But
So explain this Doctor to me then.
So basically, in the Brain of Morbius, Morbius is like this former president of Gallifrey that went mad and decided to go to war with the rest of the universe, and he was deposed and imprisoned, and was believed to have been dead, but his brain survived on the nearby planet of Karn, which was also the introduction of the Sisterhood of Karn from the Night of the Doctor in the same setting and whatnot. In that episode when the great sister mother mentions that the Doctor helped them in the past.
Yep.
This is what she was referring to.
Okay.
And basically, like, his brain survived, and then this mad scientist created a Frankenstein's monster of a body for him to hopefully come back and retake the universe. And then him and the Doctor basically did a mind wrestling competition using their previous lives as weapons against each other. And of course, the Doctor won because not only was he on his 4th incarnation, but he had 8 prior incarnations to back him up.
I think this would have been kind of fun.
What?
I think this would have been kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I think there is a clip of it on YouTube if you want to look for it. But basically the idea was these are 8 versions of the Doctor that we never actually got to see, which of course through the Timeless Child idea is now canon because all 8 of these are former versions of the Doctor that took place before the William Hartnell incarnation, even before the Fugitive Doctor potentially. So, and of course these were all originally members of the crew at the time.
So, really? Okay, I was wondering who they were.
I mean, there were George Galasio, Christopher Barry, Christopher Baker, Graham Harper, Philip Hinchcliffe, Robert Holmes, and Robert Banks Stewart. Did you count those?
Well, I see 8.
Hold on. Let's just let's do a recount. So, like I said, Christopher Barry, Christopher Baker, George Galasio, Philip Hinchcliffe, Robert Holmes, Graham Harper, Robert Banks Stewart. That's 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. I'm seeing 8. I don't know
Okay.
why, but the one in the top left, the one in the green, that one kind of sticks out to me.
Because of the green?
It's very much a man for all seasons, like old England,
I think that was kind of the idea they were going with.
History book.
These,
like that
what?
That pose and everything, it reminds me of something you'd see in a history book.
Hold on, let me just. It's really kind of bugging me. I really want to put names to all the faces that we're seeing while I'm showing this other picture. So this is further artwork for these Morbius Doctors.
Oh, the middle one, the Doctor by way of Hook.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Philip Hinchcliffe, if I remember correctly.
That's for the what? Sorry,
Philip Hinchcliffe. He was the showrunner during the first 3 years of the Tom Baker era. So so moving back into this picture right here, we got the one on the top left, the one in the green that you mentioned.
Yep.
That was Christopher Barry. Okay.
Okay.
The one right next to him, that's Robert Banks Stewart. The one next to him with the slight beard, that's Christopher Baker.
Okay.
The doctor by way of a hook, as you called him, that's Philip Hinchcliffe. Douglas Camfield, that's the one I was missing. Douglas
Ah,
Camfield, that's the one with his head tipping his hat. The one next to him, Graham Harper, which was technically not, the picture was not taken for this episode. It was actually taken for the character of the Adjudicator in Colony in Space.
that's
But
the only one that looks off.
because the picture itself wasn't taken for the episode itself.
Yeah, it literally looks like they photoshopped his head on somebody else's
There's a
body.
lot of heavy Photoshop there. And right next
It's very noticeable.
Yeah, right next to him, that's Robert Holmes. And of course, next to him with the mustache, that's George Galacio. And
Gotcha.
of course, these were all like showrunners, script writers, production assistants, directors, co-writers, the works. You name it. They were the people behind the camera for Doctor Who at the time, and they got to make their stamp and immortalize themselves in Doctor Who by way of this episode. And here's a nice little picture that was originally supposed to be for a charity comic event that never actually happened, where they would have explained more of each of these doctors,
Yay!
more backstory.
There's not Joe Martin.
Yeah, they got Joe Martin there, and I think behind her, that's the outfit that was originally used for the Graham Harper version, the Adjudicator, and they gave him a new costume, as you can see here. With the
Which one is he here? Is he the one in purple?
He's the ginger one with the beard in between the.
So the one in purple.
Robert Holmes. What?
So the one in purple.
The one next to him.
Oh, gotcha.
So he's the one between. Actually, you know what? Here's the one easier. He's the only one not wearing a hat.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, this was supposed to be a comic book, a charity event comic, with art done by Paul Hanley, who does a lot of great Doctor Who artwork. But of course, the comic itself didn't actually get published. It was supposed to introduce a lot of new backstory and lore behind these doctors, which of course never happened. But that is a story for another time. So,
Hey.
Mr. Soda, we've gone through a lot of doctors today.
Yep.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I really enjoyed seeing some of these different takes of the Doctor.
Especially the costumes.
Yeah. No, some of them are pretty sweet. You can definitely see where they drew inspiration from some of them. But yeah, no, overall it's pretty cool to see.
I agree. So shall we do our plugs now then?
Yeah, I guess I'll kick it off. You can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxpen. You can also find me on the Northern Entertainment Group here doing my usual shenanigans with 50 and over on the Sodagan Wrestling channel.
Cool. And you can find me every Monday, hopefully every Monday on this show, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, and hopefully every Thursday on Fun with Flags with this wonderful person right here on this channel, as well as my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. And you can also check out all of these wonderful channels from the wider Benverse at large, like Something to Talk About, Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, 8-Town Reviews, and of course, Sodagan Wrestling, the aforementioned one, and In the Front Row, which is still not pictured on this thumbnail. So, thank you all for watching. Let us know which is your favorite Doctor who did not make it to the TV show or is not considered a canon Doctor or an obscure Doctor, whatever. But yeah, let us know which Doctor Who costume is your favorite from the ones we've shown you today. And if you have any ideas of any other Doctors we might have missed, please let us know that as well. And until the next time, everybody, in the words of Missy herself,
don't forget to like and subscribe.